Hey everybody, it's me, Zach. This is Potato, and welcome back to our channel. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and I'm back today because we're doing a follow-up to a video I did a couple weeks ago. Or was it a couple weeks ago? I don't know how long ago it was, but you might recall I made a video where I was like, hey, here are some YouTubers that I follow that aren't Amber Lynn Reed, Chantal, the 1,000 Pound Sisters, whoever, whatever, and you might be interested in getting to know about them and learning about them and things like that. And one of those YouTubers was somebody called Life Plus Cindy. Now, some of you were having troubles finding her. I'm not sure if that's because there's multiple Life Plus Cindys or what, so I'll make sure to actually link her channel down below in this video, as well as leave a link to the last video I did about this situation type of deal. But many of you have, one, thanked me for sharing her channel with you, and two, asked for an update because she had some major updates in her life recently, and you all wanted my thoughts, opinions, and things like that about it. And so a few things I'll say before going into this video. I don't know, this is gonna just be like way more relaxed than maybe my typical video over here. I'll try to include some clips, I'll try to provide my commentary, and also like an overview recap of the things that are happening, but also encourage you to go watch her channel. Basically, it's just gonna be a little bit of a more relaxed moment situation type of deal, not a real reaction, because I spent several hours of my day yesterday reacting to Amber Lynn doing her whole shrimp gate thing, and I just need a break. I need an easier video to film, edit, and discuss today. The other thing I want to say is that whenever I brought up these two new YouTubers last time in the last video, there were people who were like, I can't believe, and this was like a handful of people, okay? But there were a handful of people that were like, I can't believe that you would subject Cindy to your audience is horrible, awful, etc. And I was like, y'all are like 4 or 5 people in my comments when the rest of the comments are filled with like love and support for Cindy. Lots of people were very excited to see me cover somebody that they've watched for a long time. A lot of people were thrilled to see somebody new that seemed relatable, vulnerable, etc. And so I just want to thank y'all for being so great at like being, I don't know, what I expected y'all to be, which is wonderful human beings to these two new people that I was just sharing on my channel. You know, the vibes were not like, these people are awful people, these people are good people. The vibes were just like, hey, I'm sharing these people with y'all. You know what I'm saying? And so on that note, I also want to say that I think some people who were fans of Cindy were concerned that I was like gonna drag her, rake her across the coals, etc. And I just want to say, like, I don't plan on dragging anybody. I think there's always room to be critical of anybody, even your faves, right? Like, I would hope that people out there are critical of the things that I say and, you know, consume them in the ways that they want, because, you know, we shouldn't just blindly love or accept anything as it is at face value, you know? So I will say, like, overall, I still really like her channel. I'm still very invested in her channel, her story, her life. I think it's very fascinating what she chooses to share onto the YouTube. And so if there's any parts of this that seem critical, things like that, I think it's like a healthy amount of criticalness, of skepticism, of questions, because she did recently come out with a video that left me with more questions than maybe what she has the answers available for. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me get you caught up. When I made that video, I should have probably prefaced that she had said publicly that she probably wouldn't be posting again on her channel for like a week or two because she was going to be away from a computer to edit, internet to upload, all of those things. So she was just like, listen, I'm gonna keep filming what's going on, but I won't be able to actually physically upload something for like a week or two. And so a lot of y'all were like, Zach, she hasn't posted in so long, what's going on? I was like, ooh, that was a missed opportunity on my end to let you know what was happening. But where we had left off with Cindy's content whenever I made that initial video is that she and her husband, Andrew, were looking to find an apartment to live in Arkansas. You know, they had just gotten back together kind of like out of nowhere, which for me personally was kind of like a little bit of a red flag because, you know, she had been talking a lot extensively about the work she was doing on herself himself and things like that. And she wasn't sure if he was going to come back or not. And then out of nowhere, she just posted a video like, hey besties, we drove to Arkansas together. And she said that they'd been working on things and stuff like that, and they were talking about things that they wanted to do together to work on their relationship. So, you know, maybe there's more stuff happening behind the scenes, but for me, it all happened abruptly and I was a little thrown off. And so in the last video she had maybe posted before taking a break to do all the moving, she had said like, oh, here we are looking around at apartments in Arkansas, trying to find a place to stay. And I'm going to show you that when I get the chance to actually pick an apartment, like once we settle on an apartment, and also like once we're ready to get stuff moved. So she took a week-long hiatus, and one of the first videos back was her showing her new apartment that she got with her husband, Andrew.
All right, y'all, we're in the apartment. I just walked in the front door and I'm about to give you the tour. Okay, so right when you walk in the front door, this is the living room. Look how big it is, y'all. It's huge, okay? It goes all the way back here, and then we have this window with a lovely view of just this wooded area back here.
And they also discussed, you know, their plans to drive back to Colorado, get their things, move all of their things to Colorado, so that they could start over brand new, fresh in Arkansas, which is where they both grew up prior to living in Colorado. I think that all happened at like the end of the last week, so y'all know me, I pretty much take my weekends pretty seriously when it comes to boundaries, and I spend most of my weekends doing things that are not YouTube related, just so I can enjoy time with my partner, my dogs, my friends, my whoever, whatever. And I got to my computer Monday morning, okay, I sit down, and I'm like, what is this new Life Plus Cindy video? Like, what is that? Like, why is, like, I thought it was maybe an old video getting recommended to me, but I'll show you the thumbnail. It's like her clearly distressed, crying, upset. And the video is called My Life is Over Part 2. He left for good and we're not getting back together. And she does provide a trigger warning in the description of the box. And actually, I'm kind of wondering if that isn't a different title than what it was originally, because I'm reading it now and I feel like I remember seeing a trigger warning in the title, but I could just be thinking of like an Amber Lynn video. I'm not really sure. But she does put a trigger warning in the description of the video that says that the video's really hard to watch and it includes a variety of things related to like mental health, substance abuse, things like that. And so do keep that in mind. I'm gonna, limit what I show in this actual video, but we will be having conversations of things related to unaliving yourself, alcoholism, relationship stresses, things like that. So yeah, I was kind of shocked to see this. I mean, kind of shocked, but also not, because like I said, I did have some red flags when they just like automatically got back together and it seemed very sudden and we didn't have a lot of background in it. But also still surprised because, from watching her videos, Cindy seemed really excited about these new opportunities, new experiences, and things like that. And so this video was very much like her first My Life is Over video. She was just very raw and open with her feelings about what happened, and she lets us know right off the bat that he cheated on her.
Well, y'all, I'm skipping forward, and I'm sorry you didn't get to see all the other vlogs, but there's no way in hell I can edit them now. Andrew and I are over for good. He is gone, and I will not be taking him back. My heart is broken into a million pieces. The only thing that gives me comfort is that I'm home and my best friend is on his way over here right now. So I have someone and I don't feel as alone as I did in Colorado. So this morning I thought everything was going fine. Andrew, we were hanging out, we went out to breakfast, we had a great morning together, at least I thought. And he left to go to the music store, and after about an hour I got a text that said, I don't even want to tell you this, I don't even want to say this. It said that he has cheated on me several times, during our marriage, and I never knew. And that he could not live with that guilt, and he doesn't think that I should forgive him, and I agree. I don't think I can forgive that. I mean, I can't forgive that. How could he do that to me? I have loved him for 15 years. I have been loyal. I have never even looked in the direction of another man. I have never hurt him in that way, and I never would.
And not necessarily recently, like since they got back together, but at other points during their marriage. Specifically, she also mentions that it happened right before she found out that she was pregnant.
That is what he told me. That it happened right before I got pregnant. Now I will not be taking him back. Even if he wanted to, but he doesn't.
And I will say, I haven't obviously followed her forever, but I do know that part of her story is that in recent history, she did get pregnant and she had a miscarriage and lost the pregnancy. And so I know that that is obviously a very difficult part of her life, and to now also have the added stress or knowledge, I guess, that her husband cheated on her before it happened, I think is obviously something that would be very difficult to take in. She also does talk about how, like, you know, this time it's going to be different for her because the last time she really couldn't imagine a life without him, and this time she's done with him, that this is like a total breach of her trust and that she can never go back to him after this. And I hope that is true for her, honestly. It seems like, you know, there's not a lot going back from there, you know. I don't know, for me personally, like, cheating is pretty much a deal breaker in moving forward in a relationship. Although I do know people who have worked it out and worked through it. It just seems like maybe that's not where she and Andrew are at. She does talk about how she thinks she's been dealing with it better, though, and I hope that's the case, although I don't know if that's super apparent from this particular video. One of the things that I found to be very concerning about this video is that she talked about having the potential early signs of, like, a drinking problem while also drinking on camera.
I am, like, almost drunk. I have to be honest with you guys right now. I mean, I don't have to be honest with you, but I'm going to be. I have developed what I believe to be the early stages of a drinking problem. And I don't want to be like my parents. I don't want to drink myself to death in my 50s. But I don't know how else to deal with this.
She also talked about how when she was still in Colorado, before Andrew decided that they could work it out and get together again, that she had thoughts of unaliving herself. And I think that I can appreciate the vulnerability altogether in all of this. You know, this is like probably one of the most difficult times of her life, and she's feeling vulnerable enough and like confident enough in herself to like come on camera and share these very personal, sensitive things with the public. And while I do think that that is like a great sign of vulnerability, I also think that an important part of vulnerability is that not everybody is deserving of your vulnerability, right? Like, you know, I don't read as much Brene Brown as I used to in the past, but one of her things that she studies, if you're not familiar with her, is the concept of vulnerability. And I remember in one of her books that I read in the past, she talked about how, like, being vulnerable is not necessarily about just, like, sharing everything and all of your feelings and all of your emotions with everybody. It's really a test of, like, sharing it with the people that need to hear it, you know? And maybe in this case that is her YouTube audience, but I do have a thought, and I sometimes wonder, not just for Cindy, but in general on the internet, when I see people, you know, turning on a camera and having these really raw, personal conversations about things in their life with a YouTube audience. I don't know. I just think, like, I personally couldn't relate to that, right? Like, I can't imagine being in a very vulnerable place and sharing those vulnerabilities with, like, strangers on the internet. Especially just because I've been around the internet long enough. I know how it works. I know how people are. And I just know people are bound to be rotten and terrible about it. So I hope that's not the case for her. I hope people are being very supportive of her. It's clear that she's in a very emotionally fragile place, in an emotionally challenging place. And, you know, as somebody who's just like a recent subscriber of hers, like, I was really also enjoying the content that wasn't this, right? Like, I think it's very easy to get sucked into the more dramatic emotional parts of somebody's life, but like Cindy did have a way of doing something that I think people like Amberlynn can't do on their channel. She had a way of doing things that, you know, I personally wouldn't find exciting, but like she made interesting. Like a lot of her vlogs while she and Andrew were in Arkansas were her like going back through this town that she used to live in and show us like the exciting things that she used to love, even though for me I'm like, is that really exciting? I don't know, but she was like taking us through parks, going on hikes, and finding ways to make it something I was interested in because I was invested in her as a person. And I don't really remember where I was going with that thought, just that, you know, I don't know. I think there's maybe just a time and a place, and, you know, I want to be able to see many more of the vlogs where she's, you know, not crying over heartache, crying over heartbreak, things like that. And, you know, I think there's a balance in being a YouTuber and finding ways to be vulnerable while also taking care of yourself. And I guess my concern is that, you know, she's showing us these really raw moments where she's admitting some pretty serious things that need probably professional help and attention. And I'm just worried that, you know, that's not something that's happening. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel me? Does that make sense? Is that resonating with y'all? And the other most alarming part of this whole video for me, honestly, and I will say it's a 35-minute long video, so I'm obviously not going to touch on every single thing that happens in here. You know, I think that was a concern that some people had the last time I brought her up, that people were like, well, you didn't mention that this happened to her, this or that, or this or that, and you like just believed everything she said and whoever, whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, like I don't have any reason. I just watch her content. I'm not like seeking out other people talking about her outside of what her content is. So I'm, one, not gonna know if there's like additional evidence outside of her, and two, I just like don't have the time to do her entire video or tell you every single thing that happened in it. But I will say, I think the other major thing that she said / did in this video that was like concerning or interesting, or I don't know, just like raised some red flags to me, and I think many of you will resonate, is that she told this story of this guy that Andrew is going to be working with at his new job in Arkansas, who happened to be a guy that she used to talk to at a call center that she worked with him, and she was contemplating like if she should reach out to him, and spoiler alert, she did.
Andrew, when he started working at the restaurant here, he brought home a schedule, and it had the names of all of the coworkers like listed because it had everybody's schedule. It was just like a printout. One of the names on there I recognized, and I was like, oh my god, I wonder if that's the... I'm gonna have to come up with a name for this guy. We're gonna call him Jack. That is not his name, but that's what I'm gonna call him. I wonder if that's the Jack that I used to know. So I kind of told Andrew about this. He knows the whole story of me and Jack, and he went to work and came back and said, that is definitely your Jack. So Andrew was working with a man that I used to be in love with. Jack and I worked together at a call center many, many years ago, back in about 2006, 2007. This was a situation where this guy and we were in the same like training group, and we sat next to each other, and this was when the call center first opened, so we didn't have a high call volume, so we had a lot of downtime to just sit there and hang out together, and we had ended up having so much in common. It was like the universe just put us together for some reason. Over several months, we kind of fell in love with each other. So I kind of like fell in love with this guy, and I know that he also fell in love with me because he told me that, but he had a girlfriend at the time, and I didn't want to be a homewrecker because I'm just not that kind of person. So I told him that, you know, before anything could happen between us, he would have to, you know, break up with his girlfriend because I don't want to be the other woman, you know? Well, he said that he was going to leave her. He was not happy with her. at the last minute decided he couldn't do it and broke my heart. He couldn't hurt her like that, and it really broke my heart. We ended up losing touch with each other, and he was just like my unrequited love, like the one who got away from me. Like all these years I've always thought of him. We've talked to each other a couple times when Andrew and I were having a rough patch back in 2013, 2014, and I thought, what are the fucking odds of that the universe would realign me with this guy? And now I'm starting to think maybe there was a reason for it. I have thought about reaching out to him. The only way I know how to do it is email. Y'all, I emailed Jack, and I don't know if that was a good idea because, like I said, I've had a lot of whiskey tonight, and you're just basically witnessing my my downward spiral into alcoholism and drunk texting people that I used to be in love with. So welcome to my vlogs. This is the quality content that you get here. And I haven't heard back, obviously, because it's a fucking email, and who the hell checks their email? And it's an old email address that I don't even know if he's gonna check, but what am I doing?
So she sends this guy a random email trying to reconnect with him after, like, years. I mean, she was married to Andrew for 15 years, okay? So after years of this not being a relationship she's reached out to this guy, maybe hoping something could happen with him. And mind you, she's also under the influence. In fact, at one point in the video, she says, like, you know, I shouldn't be doing this right now when I'm drinking. Like, I should wait until, you know, tomorrow when I've had time to think about it. And she talks about this guy like it's possible that she could have a meaningful, like, romantic relationship with him, not knowing if he's already in a relationship or, like, if he's doing anything with his life since she last saw him, like, all those years ago. She also mentions that there was a time where she had a rough patch with Andrew in 2013 or 14 or something like that, where she reached out to him. And since she's concerned that it could turn out to be, like, a good romantic relationship for her that she would invest her time in, she's worried about reaching out to him now because she really believes that, like, whoever she's with next is just going to be a rebound from Andrew. Which I think is a weird way to think about relationships. I mean, I think, like, the concept of somebody being a rebound is probably real to some extent, but, like, I don't know how I feel about seeking out a rebound relationship just to have it be a rebound and move on. Like, I think sometimes it just so happens that that's the case. But it feels weird to me that that's, like, already her mindset. Although, honestly, do whatever you want to do. Like, clearly, like, you can have whatever relationship you want. But I did think that was an interesting thing that she said. Overall, it just seemed kind of like a red flag thing to do, to, like, immediately reach out to this man after she felt like things were officially done with her husband. I don't know. It just seemed like, girl, look at your life, look at your choices. Like, what are we doing here? And in general, you know, I was gonna wait and see if she posted some more videos before I made a video about this. But I had a lot of people asking me what my thoughts were about her most recent video. And so I thought maybe y'all would appreciate a little update video from me, thezacharymike. So, I don't know. Like I said in the first video where I mentioned her, you know, I'm not necessarily transitioning to be a Life Plus Cindy commentary channel by any means, but I am really invested, and I think at the end of the day, she's a sweet person who is going through a rough time, and, you know, I am invested in the story and the videos and whatever's happening. I am curious to see what happens next, and, you know, she has apparently through this whole time, even after getting back together with Andrew, continued therapy, and so I hope that continues to also be a thing for her, because I felt like she was making some progress with that prior to all the stuff with Andrew happening as well. So I'm just gonna put out some positive vibes, feelings, thoughts for our girl Cindy, and all parties involved, honestly, because I'm sure there's also some aspect of this from Andrew that there may be additional information, maybe other things that would be helpful to know, but he's not the one with the YouTube channel. So like I said, I'm mostly going off of what I see Cindy post on her own channel. But anyways, I think that's all I have for today. I don't know. You let me know your thoughts down below. I'd be curious to hear what y'all are thinking. And thanks again to everybody who is really supportive of this last video I did where I talked about Cindy and my girl Darlene. I appreciate all the support on it, and always appreciate when you watch whatever content I come and post on my channel. So thank you so much for that. And if you're brand new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe down below, hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I post a new video. Make sure to leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I had so much fun today. I hope you did too, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!